Look, I understand capitalism, but the amount of money that these companies make to take care of our health and then hide evidence, and you look at something like red dye number 3, which I look like somebody who mainly just eats red dye number 3. But I look
like in liquid form.
Yeah, it's like it seems to be a major part of my diet. Well, because we need to have Spider-Man hamburgers, don't we? But when you look that up and you go, well, how long have we known this has been bad?
The 80s.
30 years is what I found. I was like, well, that seems like a long time to wait. To
the 80s.
Oh, this is poison? Well, we'll get to it in 3 decades.
Well, and that's what I did. I did a segment on that. But do you know who stopped them? They were originally, in the 80s, they found that red dye number 3 was a carcinogen. And then in 1990, they banned it from cosmetics. They said at the time that they were going to ban it from foods. Do you know why they didn't?
No.
The maraschino cherry industry lobbied them and pressured them not to do it because they said, you will kill our cherries because they have to be neon red, I guess.
But you'll kill our children with kitty cocktails.
Right. That's what I'm saying. These are the agencies that have been failing us for decades now. Yeah. Good. Black them out.
The maraschino.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
First of all, I didn't even know there was an industry. I know.
I'm like, the maraschino cherry industrial complex apparently stopped them from taking a known carcinogen out of our foods for 30 years.
So they could put it on a plastic sword, which also kills us.
We did a show on this a little while back. I don't know, like several months ago. And I was kind of on the fence with this. Like, this is hippie Sarah crap that we're going to be talking about, RFK Jr., blah, blah, blah. But then when I read the actual like documentation on how some of these things like the red dyes and all that stuff gets approved. So this is insane. So you'll get a food company that wants to make these Cheetos this color or whatever. Well, it's on them to produce the studies, the scientific studies. So not the scientists in the government. The scientists in the government be like, hey, show us your science. Okay. So my incentive, if I'm a scientist working for this food company, is to say, they're great. And see what I did there?
I mean, the tiger. I got it.
So they're like...
Well, yeah, because it turns out cereal is all made of like snake venom and baboon anus. Like once they broke it down, you were like, it's all just lethal.
Okay. So what?
Jason just cracked himself.
Well, she cracked me up. We got it. So
they're great.
Once they have the paid science, and they're all about the science, but it's the paid science from the guys that want to make billions of dollars off of it. Once they've said everything's fine, they submit it over to the FDA, and they're like, all right, looks good, great. What else do you got for us? This is the second part to it. Then the food companies have to pay what is it called? I can't remember even what it's called. They pay a fee, like a licensing fee or something like that, per batch of this great cereal or whatever that they're making with this food dye into it. So they're not only providing the totally true science, but they're also buying off organizations like the FDA. They're buying them off so that it continues to get approved. That's our system today. Yeah. And then you'll have people like, I'll argue with libertarians like, oh, we should just have this in there. Have you actually read how this entire corrupt system works? Yeah. There's nothing libertarian about it.
No.
And what's the purpose of the FDA then?
To get rich off all this
exactly
bribes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say the original intended purpose would, of course, be to protect Americans from consuming things that are killing them. But they've done a shitty job of that.
Right. Like the healthiest thing we've given ourselves in the last 100 years are cigarettes.
Right.
I mean, really.
Yeah. I tell you what, you can keep organizations like the FDA and, all the like CDC, all these other organizations. You can keep them. You just have to completely sever their relationship.
Correct.
They have to be what the media is supposed to be to the government. Or to how the media is supposed to. The media is supposed to criticize Democratic Party. They never do. They're in league with them.
They have to be acting independently.
Then they need to be not only independent but hostile to one another.
Yeah.
That's the only way this relationship works going forward.
Well, if you make money based on the fact that you do the research that everything is good with your product, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
What the hell is that?
Yeah,
and when it comes to vaccines, they are of course immune from being sued. So you add that layer to it as well. It's just it's on me.
Works.
Right? It's on me to provide a study that says that it's all good. And then now that I've said it's all good, you guys can't do anything about it when it's not all good because you can't sue me if your loved one dies.
This was another thing where I was like hippie Sarah. We were looking into the vaccines. We were looking at the relationship between Moderna and the government. And I was like, this is bull crap. And then I saw how they both own the vaccine. And then I saw that not only that, but Moderna paid for every single jab that people buy. There's a royalty fee sent to the Fed. I saw the account number. I've showed it to you if you've watched Glenn's show. I was like, this is the most corrupt system ever created, and we're all dying because of it.
Yep. Turns out hippie Sarah was right again.
Hippie Sarah, I admit.
Well, and none of it made sense.
100% accuracy rate.
And I think it kills, and I don't know if it's diet or whatever, but I think it has killed more African Americans and more people of color than it has white people. I mean, I have a friend who's 41. He was just lifting weights. Didn't do drugs, didn't do anything, son on the way. Heart just stopped, but he was all vaxxed up for his job. And people wanted to call you an anti-vaxxer, and it's like, my mom was huge into medicine. Mm-hmm. Like Howard Hughes type, wash your hands before we eat. Like, you know, so I knew a little bit about medicine because I was always being told about it. So like I have every vaccine, but that one was turned around so fast that all my thought was like, well, that's absurd. So I traveled all through COVID, never ever slowed down, just kept going. It didn't make any sense to me how that made any sense to anybody. And it still doesn't. I think it's if you just take time to go, there's no way you can build something and make it effective in the amount of time that they told you it would. I think that makes the government and everybody else accomplices to murder. I really do.
I agree. I totally agree. By the way, you got all your vaccines. It was probably, 20? An estimated 20 when you got them. It's now, but by the time you get to 18, it's now like 74.
Yeah, and they didn't have the chickenpox one yet, so I just got riddled with chickenpox.
Oh, uh-oh.
There's a chickenpox?
Oh, no.
I guess now,
yeah. There is. Yeah, it's been out for a while.
I know, you and I.
And hold on.
Yeah, dude.
And you're living? You're still standing?
I'm still living.
After you got chickenpox?
I'm not thrilled with the way my back looks, but yeah. The first time I was with a girl, I took my shirt off, and her first words were, "Did you have chickenpox?" I was like, I did.
You're like, I'm never taking my shirt off again. Never.
Fortunately, I have the body to not. I leave my shirt on when we have sex like a fat kid at the swimming pool.